Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast, a place to discuss pain, passion, and pursuits.
I want to feel alive.
Breathe.
Make some moves.
Protect the throne. This is Sexy Freedom Media Podcast.
Welcome to the Sexy Freedom Media Podcast. It's your host, Helen Edwards-Ann.
January Liddell. Aloha.
I'm excited to talk about today because today we're talking about starting small, thinking big, business insight for startups. And whether you've had a business for a few years or you're thinking about starting a business or you just started a business, this is a great episode to have some refreshers, to learn new insight, new skills, or just plant the seed in your mind and watch it grow if you water that, and to see how you can take some of the tools and some of the things, the topics we're going to talk about today, and see how you can maybe use them or utilize them for your own business and see what happens. See if there's any growth and response from that. So January and I had an amazing week. We both went to some type of business event, and I'm excited to just share with January what I learned, and she's going to share with me what she learned because we actually started talking before the episode. We're like, we need to record this. This is too exciting.
Okay, so maybe we should start from the beginning and how we became business owners. So I'm going to share my story. I started Milestones Video Productions back in 1999. So 1999, I started filming weddings, and I was joining my brother with his business venture as a videographer and editor, and I enjoyed it. And so I love weddings. And so I created Milestones Video Productions, and that business was just by word of mouth. And it was awesome because when one family hired me, then the next family started hiring me even more. And to be honest with you, I had no idea how to structure a business, but I knew that this was something I enjoyed doing, and it was good money, for just for me. And so I started Milestones Video Productions. I did not have a website. I I didn't even have business cards, I don't think. And all I had was my equipment and referrals, and that was it. And it was great. It was a great first starter to a business venture. And then as time progressed, okay, so I'm just going to fast forward because there were several different things that I did that related to business, but I I didn't stick to it. So, like most of you know, some businesses may only last between 1 to 3 years. Some businesses may not even last that first year because it's a lot. There's a lot to handle when it comes to business. Now, fast forward to the present. When I got into the finance industry, I knew there were certain foundational aspects that I needed, like a website, like a business card, like some type of marketing. And again, I'm doing this off the fly. Okay, I just knew that this was something that fit well in my schedule because I have children, and my husband, at the time was deployed. And so working from home was a must for me because I needed to take care of the kids. And so in any case, I had these like foundational things, and I thought, okay, I'm good. I have certain things in place. But little did I know, there's still so much to learn about business. And I am just enjoying this field, that we're in. Before we go on, I wanted to learn from you, Helen. Like, tell us your story. How did you start your business?
I'm going to make this short because I really want to add some value, but that's a great question. I think it's good that we do share our beginnings of stepping into business. When I first started my business, Sexy Freedom LLC, it was, I believe, in 2017, and it didn't start there. That's not when I started thinking about an entrepreneurship mindset. I was like, I want to work for myself. I hated working for other people. That's where it really started. I just hated other people having more control over my schedule rather than me. So I was constantly thinking like, what do I want to do? What's good for me? Like, we all enter that stage of life where we're like, I don't know what I want to do with my life. Well, I remember reading Think and Grow Rich, and it was just like basically like start somewhere, just start anywhere. And that was really the pivotal moment for me because I started going to a shelter and I started going there as a speaker and I created worksheets. I created all this mindset, consciousness, things to get better, to help yourself. And I started at the shelters because I've been there. I know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like when you wished you knew something sooner. So that's where I first began my speaking career. That was even before I started in LLC. The reason I started in LLC is because somebody told me, hey, you're doing all of this, all of these things. You've been doing it for 4 years and you're coming out with a book. These are write-offs. I didn't even know what the word write-off meant. I was like, "Oh my gosh, what does that mean?" Like, oh, in your mind back in the days when you didn't know what a write-off was, you're just like, "Oh my gosh, this means I'm going to save so much money come tax season." So, I mean, there's some truth to that, but originally I was just like, "Okay, I'm going to start this business and I'm going to write off everything. I'm going to write off my gas, I'm going to write off my books, I'm going to write off this and that and everything." Well, that's not really the case, and we'll get to that later. It was the not knowing, but the desire to do something that business people do that led me to starting an LLC, which I'm glad and I'm grateful that I did, even though I didn't know. So, a lot of people say, oh, I'm going to do it when it's the right time. There was no right time for me. I just jumped. And I'm so happy I did because I've learned so much over the past, oh my gosh, 10 years. I would say I've been working in as a businesswoman. And one of the things too is I also terminated my LLC after 7 years. So I've really learned the ins and out of business, and I'm also still doing business. I'm working on another business right now. It's actually me and my husband's business, and I'm also still doing the author and podcast, which is I'm doing business as Helen Edwards right now. There's a lot that I've learned.
It's important for us to establish credibility and why we're talking about business at this moment and why it's important. And one of the things that you said kind of ignited something. And the reason why it ignited something in my brain is because I was talking to a gentleman yesterday and we were talking about his business. So he is retired military and now is in the IT business. And he was at a conference yesterday and we had met, via Zoom. And he said that he was impressed with what I was doing because I'm doing what I love. And he said, I'm not quite there yet. I'm not doing what I love. I'm like, oh, well, what are you passionate about? And so his passion is coaching. And so he's in the beginning stages of like the mindset of, hey, I can have my own business. I don't have to rely on, this company, but I can have this business. And it aligns with those who have, and I've heard this from many military service members, those who have been in the military for 20, 30 years, this is all that they know. And it is a really tough transition to go from being a service member and having a very structured type of lifestyle versus having a business that you actually have to put in all the work into your business and you have to structure it yourself. And so it is a very like challenging mind shift for some people, that, hey, I don't know what I'm doing and I'm not ready for it. Maybe it's not time. And those are the words. And I call these like limiting beliefs. So I call these your limiting belief statements. I'm not ready for it. I don't have the money for it. I'm not good enough for it. There's all these things that we can tell ourselves that, can prevent us from just starting. And from everything that I have seen and heard, learned, read, you just have to start. You don't have to know all of the ins and outs of it, but at least just start. And this is probably your friendly reminder, audience, that if you are thinking about starting a business, but you are telling yourself, oh, I'm too old, or I'm too young, or I'm too this and that, this is your friendly reminder to just start. It doesn't matter, just start.
On that note, one of the things that we learned at the business startup class that I went to, this event we did at Casper College this last week, I knew a lot of this stuff. And I'm not trying to be egotistical about it. It's just I told myself, like, I was really going there to support our friend who started up her business. But I also thought to myself, this year, I remember saying to myself, I want to level up on my skills with business and taxes. And I remember one of my manifestations that I wrote down every morning was I'm attracting the right people in my life to help me gain these skills to further my knowledge. Not just books, not just podcasts, but actual people. And so when our mutual friend said, "Hey, you should go this anybody want to go this event with me?" I was like, "I want to go. I want to stay open." And, part of me was like, you don't really need this. You're not a startup. You're already, a businesswoman. But I was like, no, I feel like there's something I can learn. And there was actually a lot because I needed a lot of the refreshers. And one of the things was always talk to someone who is bigger and better than you are and where you're at. And this is one of my key things that I've done for the last, 20 years when I really started on my conscious journey and then 10 years in business. I remember I was constantly trying to go to network meetings and, Chamber of Commerce. I think you went to one. I've been to one in Phoenix and different women's groups. I'm always trying to network and see who knows the knowledge that I have yet to learn. And hey, let me take you out for coffee. Can we connect? Let's become friends. Like, I want to know what you know, and I will tell you what I know. Like, there's no gatekeeping. I want to help each other succeed. So, yeah, that's something I definitely recommend. Actually, that's a great question. What are two things that you wish you knew or did when you first started your business?
Ooh, I like that question. So the first thing I'm going to say is find a mentor. That is probably one of the biggest things I wish I had when I started. And I will share the second one. The first one, as far as finding a mentor, I decided last December I was going to invest in Alter Call. And the reason why I decided to invest with this particular company is because Ryan Blair, he started his business at the age of 20 and earned millions in his 20s. And for me, that shows me like he knows what he's doing. Like there's a system that he does, a process that he has that is enabling him to earn millions and then sell that company and then help other companies earn multi-million dollar companies. And so it was really important for me to do that. So find a mentor. The second thing that I wish that I like something I could tell my younger self is open that LLC right away. So open that LLC right away so that you can just separate your personal and your business accounts and just have all those foundational things set from the get-go. And that's one thing that I am learning. There's so much to learn, right? And just like you, Helen, like yes, there are certain, foundational things or fundamental things that I know about business, but yet when I go to altar call, there's still so many things to learn. And being surrounded by business owners who have 5 to 20 employees and who are already doing pretty well for themselves in their companies, I felt like being an altar call leveled me up to being surrounded by other people, other business-minded people who are already successful, but they still are like, hey, what can I do to improve? It's pretty amazing. What are two things that you wish that you learned?
I wish that I had learned more about money. Now, you can have a great background with money, but if you don't understand how to, one, pay yourself first, and two, acknowledge taxes in your business, you're going to be scrambling. And I wish I had known all this earlier. Now, of course, you learn pay yourself first, but then what? Then you pay yourself, then what? You go spend it or do you reinvest it? Now, there's a book called Profit First by Mike I can't say the last name that clear, Michalowicz. Look it up. It's called Profit First. My sister gave me this book, and I wish I had read it many years ago. Some people, it's just common sense. Like my husband was like, okay, we've already done this. But I didn't know this. I didn't know how to separate your accounts, how to have a Profit First account, how to have a tax account, have your HSA account separate, have your business account separate. And I wish that I had known this earlier because then you start seeing where your money's being funneled, where it's going. And that's huge for me right now. I take care of all of the back end work. I learn a lot about taxes. I work with our tax team. I'm very proud of myself because I've grown so much. And it's all because I strapped down and I was like, I need to learn this. Sometimes people say it's a headache and it's easier just to pay somebody else. That's fine too. If you're going to pay somebody smarter, great. We've done that, but I also want to know where's our money going? Where's the profit? Where's the loss? Things like that. That's just, having responsibility for your money and also taking ownership over your business. So that's one, knowing about money, knowing about your finances, knowing about the bank accounts. The second thing I wished I had known earlier is marketing analysis. Basically knowing more marketing. I did not know marketing when I first started. I wish I had started on social media right away, but I was like, I don't need it. And years later, I have a great social media presence. But now I'm trying to figure out how to turn my social media presence into a conversion rate of financial success. And these are things I'm learning in my 40s, which is totally fine. Okay, everybody, if you're starting over in your 40s, that is phenomenal. One, that you're starting. We don't know everything. We don't know what we don't know until we know it. That's something I wish I'd known earlier is learning all about marketing because I look at all of these people and I'm like, wow, you're so successful. And you know why? Because they know marketing and sales. You're talking about your mentor. Your mentor knows about marketing and sales. He knows how to utilize the tools of online strategies, online marketing. These influencers, they know how to market. Now, maybe not everybody knows how to do sales, but marketing and sales kind of go hand in hand. And you've got to kind of crack the code. So if you don't know it, read a book, listen to a podcast, or like we were talking about earlier, find somebody who knows more than you, ask them to be your mentor, ask them to be your coach, or take them out for coffee, lunch, or dinner and pick their brain.
Speaking of marketing, so that's actually the class that I went to is called Activating Your Brand. And you're right, marketing is it. Like that is how we show everybody what we do and what we offer, and it it's a that's a whole beast in it of itself. So with marketing, I feel like marketing is evolving all the time in terms of, especially like with social media, like what is trending and what is new, and what is it that draws people. And so the speaker of that particular workshop, is his name is Stain. He was one of the marketing developers for Hawaiian Host, and Hawaiian Host is a chocolate here in Hawaii. And so to learn from him was pretty awesome. One of the things that he said for brand strategy, okay, so this is a start of a funnel, is awareness, consideration, purchase, and loyalty. And awareness was that big huge thing. And just like you, Helen, I have a good social media presence, but I want to convert it, right? And that's one thing that I'm trying to learn at this moment. So awareness is like educating, educating the masses on what it is that you do. And through awareness, it's like billboards, commercials, events, but those are expensive. And so if you want to brand on a budget, it's social media, content marketing, and word of mouth. Those are the three things. And there's entertainment, education, and inform. And that is how we bring awareness to the masses, is through education, entertainment, and inform. It was just an example. It was an example of marketing that, hey, all you need is just to talk about what it is that you do. But he will say that a good hook is probably the best thing, because as you know, we live in a very short time span kind of community where it's 10 to 15 seconds, right? You got to catch their attention within, well, actually really 5 to 10 seconds. Because if you do not catch their attention, then you've already lost your audience. So there's a lot of marketing that he shared with us and still a lot to learn. I learn. And here's the other thing. Okay, so as a business person, you need to know like how do you learn best? Like do you learn through reading? Do you learn through visuals? Hands-on? Like what is it that you can learn best? So yeah, so marketing definitely is a very important thing, a strategy to learn.
Yeah, one of the strategies that I was given a refresher on was, what does the customer want or desire from that product in the first place? So I knew this, and we all know this because we do it ourselves. We buy on emotion, or most of the time we buy on emotion. A lot of the successful businesses out there put out, what is it, marketing and advertising, uh, shows, ads, or podcasts or products, and it's based on emotion. They're capturing the emotion. They tell you a million words can be said in one photo, right? One of that was one of the things we were taught at this program, is that they put up two pictures, and there was a set of jewelry in the pictures, and one was just the jewelry, just a nice, clean, beautiful picture of the jewelry. And then the other one had a girl with the jewelry on, with the background, it was beautiful nature. And they're like, which one really speaks to you? Which one do you foresee yourself at? And right away, everybody's like, the picture on the right with the girl. Now that was like a light bulb moment for me. I was like, am I expressing emotion through my products, and my product being like my book? My book is my number one product. Am I expressing the emotion? Am I telling my story? Am I sharing my story? Because there's so much that we've been through. How are we sharing our story? And we've actually talked about this before in the past, and in a lot of our episodes when it comes to business, like share your story. Now, this is one thing that a lot of us, especially introverts, run up against, is we're exhausted and we're overwhelmed by all of the information out there, by all of the mentorships, by all the coaches that are being thrown at us. I get DMs all the time. I would love to coach you. I never asked for any coaching. Why are you coming at me? It's just advertising that you're doing. Like, here's the thing. You need to connect with people. The right people will come into your life. They will. And it's not just by hard sales. It's not just by cold calling or cold sales with DMs. Look, people, I don't think that's a good strategy. Maybe it works for some people, but for others, it doesn't. And I know for me, it doesn't, when I'm just like a cold call through a DM. That's what I'm going to call it, a hard sale. Like, I don't want that. I want people who really want to connect with me. And when I'm shopping around for somebody that I need help with in my business, I do go on LinkedIn, or I go on Facebook. So those are my two places that I get, the people that I want in my life. Where do you get them? Where do you find people when you're overwhelmed?
So it's funny you should say that because I was just talking to that gentleman yesterday where we were talking. So the way that he and I connected was through John Maxwell, and love John Maxwell. And so we were sharing that most people buy from people they like. And that's really the end goal. And like if you trust that person and you know like, hey, this person is credible in terms of you can see like their face looks great. So they probably have a really great skincare or they're doing so well in their business and so they must be doing, extremely amazing. So let me pick their brain and let me buy from that person because that person probably has something that they're already successful at. So yeah, go ahead.
So that's funny you say that, because me and Michelle were talking about that yesterday on our work date. We literally were talking about, well, she was setting up her Facebook business page, and I was, kind of guiding her through that. But I was saying, please put a picture of yourself on there, because one of the things that I personally don't go for is anybody who has no picture of who they are, especially massage therapists. I love going on Facebook. I like seeing the reviews, and then I love content. But when I see no picture of who you are, or no picture of the location of where your products are or what you're doing, I don't know who I'm talking to. I don't know whose hands are going to be on me. I don't know what kind of energy is going to be, touching this body when it comes to massages or massage therapists or products in general. Like, who is the face behind the person? Now, I know a lot of people who have just regular products say you can do faceless selling, you can do faceless marketing. I do understand there is a lot of that out there, and I get it. People are okay with buying from that. But some people aren't, and that's me. So don't feel bad if you're somebody who doesn't want to go that route and put your face on or in front of people. If you want to go the faceless route, go for it. Whatever feels comfortable to you. Because customers will come from all ends, and we each have our certain customers that are going to come to us. Like my readers enjoy nonfiction and memoirs. My readers are not going to be all readers, you know? So don't feel like you're going to have everybody's approval. That's one of the things that I wish I knew earlier. Stop trying to get everybody's approval. Learn who your customers are. And also, going back to what January was saying, show them that they can trust you. Show them that you are the expertise in your field.
So yeah, it's all about branding, right? Your brand. Like what is your brand? And so Stain mentioned Corona. When you think of Corona, what is the first thing you think about? The first thing I think about is the beach. I always
I was
associate,
going to say Corona beer. Girl, what
yes,
Corona are you talking about?
Corona beer. Yeah, Corona beer. Exactly. When you think of Corona beer, what is the first thing that pops in your head? And the first thing that pops in my head are those dang beach chairs in front of the beach,
I was
right?
thinking lime, like a lime, right? A fresh squeeze. Oh God,
Yeah.
girl, you're making me thirsty. Okay.
I, I know. Just thinking about, I'm like, I would love to just go, cheers. Anyway, but that was it. That was the question that Stain uh presented us was, what do you think of it? You know, when you think of Corona beer, what was your first thought? And that was my first thought. Corona beer is a brand, and you know exactly, like when you think of Corona beer, you're thinking beach and just lounging around and relaxing, and that is the brand that they built for themselves. Nike, you know, when you see Nike, it's just do it, right? Or swoosh or whatever. There's a certain feeling associated when you see those, like the Golden Arch. You know exactly what Golden Arch I'm talking about. So it once you build your brand, and then go from there. And then also you need to, like what Helen was saying, you have to have your avatars. But when you talk about avatars, and Stain mentioned this the other day, you have to be specific. Like, where are they hanging out? Are they hanging out on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram? Do they have children? Do they go to college? I mean, he was very specific about all of the different avatars. We call them avatars. Avatars that love your brand, you know, and that is when you think of your avatars, those are the people that you're going to be talking to when you create your ad or whatever. Because like Helen said, you're not going to be able to get everybody. It's just a specific type of person.
Yeah, one of the things that this guy, David Starcevich, suggested, he owns Copper Cup Coffee here in Casper, Wyoming. He was saying go to pop-ups. Go to pop-ups, basically like become a vendor, go to all of these events, craft events or whatever your community has type of events. Go to the pop-ups, become a vendor, get customer feedback. And I love how he said, put some skin in the game. And that was like a whoa moment for me because one of my questions that I've had trouble with is, where do I fit in? I'm just an author. No, you're not just an author. That's what I needed to hear from my higher self when I said that, because I said that out loud. I said, I don't know where I fit in. That was one of my questions. I don't know where I fit in. I'm just an author. And not only did my higher conscious say something to me, but Michelle said something to me because she was there with me and she says, no, oh my God, are you serious right now? She was shocked that I said that. But that's the thing is nobody really knows what's going on inside of us. And for me, I was feeling very lost. Turns out, and is fact, I'm not just an author. I am a businesswoman. I used to be a coach. I ran retreats. I've set up hundreds of workshops and speaking events. And there's a lot of value that I can add. So I'm not just an author, but I do need to put skin in the game. And I love how he said, go to these vendor events and get feedback. Feedback is really important because it really opens you up to know what do people want because the market is always fluctuating. We don't know if our product is a high commodity at that time. So it's good to know that.
So skin in the game also means, for me, what that means to me is putting money. You got to put money into your business. That is probably the most biggest thing um, to learn in this industry is that you have to put money to make money. And so that is the skin in the game. So when I started, in the finance industry, that was something that Danny said. Danny said, you got to put skin in the game. And to me, it was like, yeah, but where am I going to get this money? Right. And so, uh, for a lot of us, we're on a budget, okay, especially in this type of economy, that we do have a budget. However, we also need to know that in order for us to grow our business, we have to put that skin in the game. Invest in yourself, invest in your business. This is what's going to propel you to to get away from that imposter syndrome. So imposter syndrome is real. Let's just put it that way. Imposter syndrome is real, and you'll have that same imposter syndrome throughout all of your business career, I feel, because there's always an evolution of what's going on in the world, but evolution of yourself too. One of the things that I'm learning is that yes, you need to go to those pop-ups, go to networking events, just be involved, put your money in it, and invest, like I said, in yourself and in your business. But there's another layer. Okay, so the other layer is the system and process. And that is the one thing that Ryan Blair really stresses about and really tries to imprint that upon us is that you need to have a system and a process in place. And that does mean probably investing in that as well. And when I say investing in a system and process, like for our example, our company uses monday.com, and monday.com is a CRM tool that just basically makes things very efficient. And when starting a business, yes, mindset is important. Yes, read those books. Yes, get a mentor, but also invest in a strategy, invest in some type of a process. Figure that out first. Put in time and effort into figure out your steps, your processes, your systems. And once your system is in place and you're actually implementing it and you're living it and very, very consistent in it, then everything is going to work out, smoothly because you are following the system.
Ooh, this is so fire. I'm already thinking in my mind, what am I going to say yes to? Because as I've shared before, I'm doing the year of yes, but I'm taking it in little chunks. I did January of yes, February of yes, which, today's last day of February. And I'm so excited to do March of yes. And you're already making me think of the things I'm going to say yes to that have to do with business and leveling up. I love that. I'm getting hyped already. I'm getting so hyped. And for me, it's the podcast. It's this podcast. And if you're listening right now, first of all, thank you for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you, because we're going to come up to 8 years this summer. And it's so important to me that we evolve in this podcast, that we level up with it. And January and I are doing our best to provide, the best guests, a lot of value to you. So I just wanted to pause for a second and say, if you're listening to this, please share this because it means so much to us and it helps us get the word out to so many people. And it just, it brings inspiration to people's lives and that's what they need. Okay, that was just a little tiny gratitude, attitude step right there. But the last thing I do want to mention before we start wrapping this up is this, and it goes back to what you were just saying, January, about investing. Hire people, delegate the things you don't know, get a team. We have a tax team. Oh my gosh, we went through three other people before we got the team that we are most satisfied with and we're excited about and we're happy and they work great with us. I'm telling you, a team makes the difference. When January came on here, Oh my gosh. And I wasn't doing it by myself anymore. She has added so much value to my life and to the show. I'm not alone. We are not alone. And we have our next step. We've been talking about it. We're going to get an assistant. I'm putting it out there. It's coming, the right one. I'm going to read this right here. The company goes where the leader goes. Get better. I love that. So when you start getting better and you start realizing you're not going to do it all yourself, you're going to start investing and you're going to start getting people to help you. It's going to make a huge, huge difference in your progress, in your growth, both with your business and your financial growth, extraordinary amounts.
Can I share that one of my words for this year is collaboration. Collaboration, and it's huge for me because back in the day, my mindset was competition. And I was always afraid of the competition. But I've learned throughout the years that it's best that we work together. It's best that we collaborate together. So there are several different companies that I'm actually that I've built relationships with. And it's important for me to build these relationships because we don't know. We don't know what value I can give to them or what value they can give to me. And what can I learn from them and what can they learn from me? And so that is another like business acumen type mindset that I'm at this moment is collaboration because like you said, we're better when we're together and we will level up, especially if your besties are actually much more successful than you, then you can level up because they're like at this level and you want to reach up to that level. So it's just an amazing feeling to be in collaboration with other people. For me now, the way that I see business is that I want to make you my best friend. Like that's probably the best thing for me is like let's be besties, you know? And because I work so well with my besties already, like you, Helen, like we just vibe really well together. So not only are we having fun, but now we're also learning with each other and from each other, and it's the best thing to do. So collaboration is another key aspect I feel in business that we really should be like digging into. Man, there's so many things about business. 1 hour
I
is not enough
know.
about business.
You know what? That's such a great word. I'm like so excited. I'm on the edge of my seat just thinking about it because one of the things we've been doing, or I've been doing, is doing work dates. I tell my friends, okay, bring your laptops. We're just going to go to the coffee shop and we're going to work on whatever we need to work on. And the cool thing about that is if one of us doesn't know something, we have a question, we just put our brains together and we find the solution for each other. And then once we find the solution, we keep working on whatever we're working on. And it's so fun. Plus, you get out of the house, you have some awesome coffee or tea, great ambience, great atmosphere, and you just there to work. And it's awesome. One of my favorite things. Collaboration, so smart. I love that. And I think we need more of that. We need more women and men to collaborate with each other. In fact, I used to be a coach. I used to be a high ticket coach, and I had services for people to pay me to give them knowledge and to help them in business and help them in whatever endeavors they wanted to do. And I remember I didn't feel like it was aligned with me. I did not feel good doing that. Nothing against any coaches out there. If you're a coach and you feel good about doing it and you feel aligned with it, do you, boo. But for me personally, I had lost a lot of people in my life. And I remember thinking, what if I got a terminal illness told to me that I was, have so long to live? I'm not going to care about the money I make to help somebody. I'm going to just want to help them. And then I think about the people I lost. Like, I wish I would have just stopped what I was doing and helped them right away. And that's really what made me come to the conclusion that I don't want to coach. I don't want people to pay me for this knowledge that I just want to give to them because I love them. Like, I love my friends. I appreciate them in my life. I want to help them. And that has been so much more fulfilling for the last few years since I stopped coaching because now it's like nobody wants anything from anybody. It's like, hey, let's help one another. Let's get excited about it. And that has really changed my world. I've had people say, "Do you do coaching?" And if I don't know them personally, of course, I say, yes, I'm open to coaching you, but it's very, very rare because most people become my friends. I'm just such a loving person like that. You
I
know?
can see that, Helen. I can see all of us who are your previous, clients be like, oh yeah, you're my best friend now. So I can totally see that. And that's the beauty of business is that at the end of the day, and this is what a friend and I were talking about yesterday, at the end of the day, we're all human. We're all human. We all crave that relationship and that friendship. And I think in business, it's the same. It's the same thing. If we thought about business as, hey, we want to make be friends, we want to make besties. And we think of it in that way, there won't be so much pressure. And I think that's for me, that has released a lot of pressure because now it's not about like me selling to them. I don't want to sell to them. I want to actually just be friends with them and get to know them more, and and hear their pain points. And once I hear their pain points, like yesterday, I was talking to a lead and poor guy. We could not get the Zoom to work for the life of us. Like it just took a long time, but it takes a lot of patience. And finally, like almost an hour later, he finally got his Zoom on. But after all that conversation of like, hey, how's it going? And, "Oh, so what do you do?" And it's like super casual. Some of us tend to do is very mechanical, very scripted. I don't want it to be scripted. I want it to be authentic because I want to show my authentic self, right? And my authentic self is saying, hey, I want to be your best friend. Like I want to know more about you. And you lean in, right? You lean in and you find out what makes them click? Do they like? What do you, there's a saying, gosh, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's about caring about the other person first before they care about you. And that to me is kind of how I run my business is I genuinely care about the other person. So like that person, we had a really great conversation and I built that trust, I built that credibility with him. And I feel like now we're besties. And so so it's fun. So I feel like it'll take the pressure off once you have a different mindset of thinking that person is going to be your best friend.
Yeah, business can be a lightweight and not so stressful and heavy if you look at your intentions behind it. Every day you wake up, every lunch hour, every time you sit at your laptop, just think like, what are my intentions? Like, what am I trying to do? What's my end goal of what I'm trying to do? And just kind of talk to yourself and get to know yourself through this process because business is not easy. Like you said, most businesses fail between 1 to 3 years. And I don't really want to say the word fail, but it's sometimes a reality for people. But just because a business or an idea doesn't get to the end goal that you want it to, doesn't mean there's not another business idea cooking inside of you. That's the one that's supposed to birth out of this. It's really fascinating how life works. And you don't really understand it until you look back and connect the dots and you're like, oh my gosh, all these things had to fall in place for me to be where I am today, where I'm most happy, most grateful, most successful, and I'm still thriving.
Yeah, those setbacks are opportunities for growth. So every setback you have, every no that you get is a stepping stone for who you are meant to be and who you're born to be. And so all of those quote unquote failures, I don't think of them as failures. I think of them as just a stepping stone to growth. And yes, it was a setback, but hey, I learned a lot. And even like paying all this money into something and it's like, dang, I like invested in this and nothing came out of it. No, actually something did. You learned patience, you learned, how to talk to other people. You had skin in the game. So yeah, even though you may consider it as a setback or a failure, it's really like these are just opportunities for growth and you're growing, and it's called growing pains, so it's there for a reason. But
Ooh, that is so good. It's called Growing Pains. Yes. So we're going to end on that because that is brilliant. There's so much more we can talk about when it comes to business because we're both very passionate about it. We both have skin in the game right now. We're both still growing and flourishing and thriving and making all sorts of mistakes, but growing from it. So yes, our growing pains are deep, but we're still going and glowing and growing through it. So there you have it, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, share this with your friends. And January, where can they find you?
You can find me januaryliddell.com. That's Liddell.com. I'm on LinkedIn as January Liddell, Facebook, Anchored Financial LLC, and Instagram, Anchored Financial LLC. I did write a book called Alina, the Super Saver. It is a children's book about financial literacy, and that is my first out of 8 books that I'm writing. The second book is actually in production, and if you'd like to pre-order the book, it's $20. For that pre-order, you'll get some goodies, and it's a signed copy. That should be published by the end of March, crossing fingers. So just Google my name and you'll find me. It's January Liddell. And Helen, where can we find you?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook, Helen Edwards, or Google Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, Helen Edwards. My name will pop up everywhere. I'm on Instagram and TikTok as Hell of a Journey. That's with one L because I only have one L in my name. You can also get my book, Nothing Sexier Than Freedom, available on Amazon and Audible. It is a limited edition because once my new edition comes out, my old book will be pulled from the shelves from Amazon. It's kind of sad, but it's kind of awesome at the same time because those who have the limited edition will just have it forever. And it is explicit, rated R for adult language. Just be advised. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate you. And again, share, leave us a review. We appreciate it. Thank you. Ahiya.
Aloha.
Want to hear more?
Visit us at sexyfreedommedia.com.